Am I audible? I think I can be.
Yes, sister, you're audible.
Okay. It is my honor and privilege to introduce our divine sister, BK Miss Sona Bahari, who is the director from the Inner Space Meditation Center. And before I do that, thank you, sister, for joining us and wish you all a very happy new year for those whom we are meeting for the first time in this year. And Miss Sona Bhari is the director of the Inner Space Meditation Center, Abu Dhabi, from UAE. And sister, you have been with us here before, so thank you for coming again. And sister has been practicing and teaching meditation for the past 28 years. Her teaching experience includes India, UK, UAE, Italy, Spain, Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, it's the entire globe. Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, Hong Kong, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Oman, Turkey, Azerbaijan, South Africa, Egypt, Canada, Iceland, and USA. And since March, Sister has been teaching meditation in Abu Dhabi from March 2008 to both the corporate and to individuals personally. She currently holds the position of Director, Inner Space Center, Abu Dhabi, and is responsible for the day to day management of Inner Space Center's affairs. And, sister, you have also delivered so many workshops and seminars on a range of different topics from time to time, from mindfulness and meditation to stress management and interpersonal relationships and communication. And you learned meditation during your teenage years, which is so nice, and was amazed at how quickly and effectively it enhanced your ability to focus and absorb information. And you've trained also many people as a professional translator and interpreter, and you speak 7 different languages. And more importantly, you speak the language of Baba. So we look forward to hearing you today on this beautiful subject. And Sister Sona had also held the role of retreat center coordinator for the Center for Spiritual Learning, a large 132-acre property in the Blue Mountains, Sydney, Australia, from 2001 to 2006. So that's so wonderful. And we are all looking forward to hearing you speak on this very nice subject of detachment to divinity. So, welcome, sister. Thank you, Baba, that you are here today with all of us. And over to you, sister.
Can you hear me firstly, just to make sure that the sound is
Yes,
all right?
yes,
Yes,
yes.
good, good, good. So, good morning, everyone, and a very, very, very happy new year. My pleasure to be here, as always. So, thank you to Raki for inviting me. And it's amazing how you can prepare as much as you want, but when the moment arrives, you just never know what you're going to get. So last night, which is so rare for the UAE, we had a few moments of blackout and lights out, and so of course when I woke up in the morning, nothing was working properly. So I guess when you try to talk about a topic called detachment, you really need to know your stuff. You really need to practice it before you open your mouth. And so this is how my whole last 45 minutes has been. And of course, at this time of the morning, you can't even tell others, oh, can you help me? Because everyone's asleep. For me, at least, it's only just past 3:30 in the morning. So let me start by saying that maybe detachment is one of the least understood words, I believe, in the Brahmin dictionary and perhaps in the whole world. And maybe that's because attachment is also not so well understood. When we talk about, be detached. So many people, and when I say people, I mean even fellow Brahmins, understand detachment to be a level of difference. It's a distance. And yet, in Baba's language, detachment always goes with being loving. Love is not about distance. In fact, love is about closeness. Love is about belonging. Love is actually about two souls not feeling that there is any distance between them. When I say Baba loves me, I love Baba, the sense of connection, not distance. So the more I thought about it, the more I realized that until I don't understand what detachment really is, I can never understand what love is. Definitely not divinity. And perhaps the most detached being in the entire universe is God, is Baba. Yet the most sought after being in this entire universe is also God. The one who everyone wants to be connected to, close to, the one who everyone wants to be a copy of, is that detached God. So if you think about all the qualities that Baba has, in many of the world religions, the merciful one, the compassionate one, the loving one, the one who is a comforter of hearts, the one who brings that sense of ease, the one who creates purity, is pure and creates purity in the world. All of these things, all these beautiful, beautiful qualities, and the one who we want to be like. And the more I thought about who God is and how God is, the more I realized that He can only be those sorts of things because He is detached. So what is detachment? And to me, detachment is a means, and love is the end. It's the end result. Detachment actually, it's a position that I decide to take vis-a-vis anything, whether it's vis-a-vis a person or a situation or even vis-a-vis Baba, God. It's a detachment, it's a detached place, which means that it's a position where I'm very, very connected, but I'm non-influenced. And this is really interesting because even when we say that I'm in God's presence, and many people would like to believe that, when we have yoga close to God, the soul feels that connection. Many people actually say that God purifies me, God's light cleanses me, God gives me power. These are common words that we use. But actually, for me, even when you are sitting in very deep seed stage yoga, God isn't doing anything to you. Baba is not actually actively creating anything in you. Baba is a mirror. And when I have yoga, good quality yoga, seed stage yoga, what I'm actually doing is I'm allowing myself, I'm allowing my intellect to see my own purest self when I look into that mirror. It's like it's a reminder to me of who I am. And he does nothing for me, really. He doesn't give me anything. He is. Baba just is. Baba doesn't need to do. Baba has no karmic account that he creates. And why all of these points? Because they're so important for me to understand detachment. In detachment, there is no push and there is no pull. I am actually not influenced, and I'm not trying to do something to make you be a particular way, because I have no need to be a particular way, and I have no need for you to be a particular way. So Baba doesn't need us to be in a particular way, does he? Baba doesn't need us to become pure. Baba doesn't even need us to love him. Baba has no need. So detachment is a position that is created with just one prerequisite. And that prerequisite is my own inner fullness. It means that I am so complete that I have only one task. That task is to overflow, to be. And because I have no need, because I don't have any particular intent or intention in forging a connection or a relationship with anyone, there is no risk of that intention being broken or that intention being spoiled. You know, there are only two reasons for our existence. Why do we exist? Either we exist to give or we exist to take. And our entire story through the Kalpa is basically based on this. We start off in the Golden Age as givers. But you don't give because you feel like you're giving there. You just give because it's a state of being, a state of fullness. And this is what we call divinity, isn't it? If you have even the thought that I'm giving, there's no divinity. Interesting, isn't it? So from that space, we have reached the end of the cycle, which, as we know, is quite the opposite, where every single movement in this world is based on need, expectation, and ultimately taking. This is a state of attachment. That I am getting something, I am being satisfied by what I do, what I think, what I say. So detachment then is that position where the soul is so independent. In fact, even though Baba says, very sweetly, Baba creates a personality of himself and says things like, you make Baba happy if you do this. And Baba likes the children who do that. But as we know, this personality is just created to help us to understand and realize what it is that we need to do for ourselves. We don't do anything for him. And on the path of devotion, everything was based on pleasing God, wasn't it? If you think about it. So whether somebody was a devotee or whether somebody was an atheist, the end of the cycle meant that I lived to do something to please someone, whether it was God, whether myself, whether someone else. Complete state of attachment. It's interesting, isn't it? That even devotion, why did we do devotion? It was nothing but to please myself. I mean, we say it was to please God, but actually it was to make me feel that I've done the right thing, that I'm okay. And now in knowledge, I'm not doing anything to make myself feel okay. Are you? Is that the intention why you follow what you do? Is that the intention why you wake up in the morning? Is it to feel okay? Do you follow Baba Srimat so that you feel okay about yourself? It's really, really interesting, isn't it? When you ask someone, why do you do what you do? So, detachment. I need nothing, I expect nothing, I want nothing, I am full. My state of being is complete. And so this position makes me very, very, very powerful. Because when you don't have any dependency on anyone out there to make you happy, to make you feel okay, you are powerful. So when we wish each other Happy New Year, I was thinking what we really should be saying, I hope you have a very detached New Year. Isn't that right? If you want to be divine, you want to be constantly happy, you want to be constantly loving, then you need to have a very detached moment. So detachment is the only means. And the preparation for that is the fullness of the soul. So perhaps one more thing to mention is when we speak about fullness of the soul, the first thing that comes to mind is the soul is filled with power, with light. It doesn't come from anywhere, this power and light. It is latent within me. And it really is just a matter of me being able to stay in the awareness of that power and light. Because the intellect, as it becomes more and more divine, as it becomes purer, as it becomes more truthful, these are all the words that we use, isn't it? So what it actually means is the intellect has the capacity to not just see my pure sanskaras, but it has the capacity to see and hold and continue to hold, continue to stay within those sanskaras, to be those sanskaras. So when the intellect is able to completely hold or maintain, whatever word you like to use, the position of I, the soul, completely detached, completely independent, completely powerful. When I can hold that position in my mind, you know how Baba says, stay soul conscious for a long period of time. This is what he means. And so until I can do that, you know, until I can hold that place, I can't really honestly say that I'm detached. But when I'm in that place, it's like the soul is enabling itself to reach a place of completion, to reach a place of fullness in a more natural way. You know, when you're building up a muscle, when you're weight training or training for anything really, running and training, you have to build up incrementally. But then there comes a point where it becomes quite natural because your muscles have become so strong. So in the same way, internally, we train the intellect to hold a position until it becomes natural. And then I am there without even realizing it. Then I'm happy without even realizing that I'm happy. Then I'm loving because love has become naturally the emerged nature that I am. And I don't feel like I'm being a loving being. Others might feel it. So really, honestly speaking, detachment is nothing but the path or the road, the only path or road to perfection. And why it is so misunderstood is because we feel, or perhaps it's been our experience, that for me to be okay, I need to pull back from influences around me. You know, you don't like someone or the kind of person who triggers you. Well, what's the easiest thing to do? What is our old programming that we inherited from our past births? That is to move away from that which triggers me. So we position ourselves at a distance. You know, so we move away horizontally. But detachment, just to create a bit of a metaphor, is nothing but positioning myself above all influences, in a place where, again, this is just metaphoric, in a place where the influence cannot touch me. Why? Because the trigger has been removed from inside me. Not that I move somewhere and I stay with that trigger. No. Detachment is a place where the old triggers are no longer there. The old triggers have been cleansed. Old triggers no longer there means the old triggers have now been completely transformed. The old sanskaras, not only do they have no power over me, but they cannot come into my conscious memory. My mind cannot even think of them. You know, sometimes in the Murlis, Baba says a child is purer than a Mahatma. Why? Because the child cannot bring impurity into its conscious awareness. That form of impurity is still submerged. And no matter what you do at that moment in time, it cannot be emerged. So there's that level of purity. So detachment is a place where none of my Kalyugi triggers, or even Rajoguni triggers from Copper Age, can neither be remembered with a conscious mind, nor can they be triggered by any influence outside of me. Isn't it an amazing place to be in? A place where I am independent, and yet I am in full control. And I'm also in a place where I've completely been able to transform everything that is within me. And therefore, I'm so full that I'm overflowing. I am ever giving. I don't feel that I'm giving. I'm ever loving, but I don't feel that I'm loving, because love is the only way. Is this making sense? I know this is a masterclass, so I'm not sort of having a conversation with you, but I just hope that this is all okay with everyone. Yes, okay, it's making sense. Okay, that's good. Good. So detachment means that I am in life, and as Baba says, I am liberated from my own triggers. I am completely in a state of utter freedom. I'm in a state where nothing and no one can mess around with me. Nothing and no one has the ability to move me from this place, because there is no trigger left, no button left for you to press. So this is the position of God, of Baba. So how do I know whether I'm there or not? It's actually quite simple. Attachment creates disturbance in the soul. The opposite of disturbance is rest. The Hindi word is aram. Rest in the soul means that I am at peace with everything. There is absolutely no movement inside of any form of disturbance. So, because I am at peace, because there is complete power inside, the soul in that moment doesn't even realize that there is disturbance on the outside. I remember once I was with Daddy Gulzar, and someone came to meet Daddy who was quite upset with her. Obviously, some sort of perception of what she had done. And Daddy, being Daddy, as you remember, she was an incredibly detached, silent personality for as long as I can remember her. Daddy being Daddy, she was just like that pillar of silence while all this drama was playing out. It was so bad that I was embarrassed sitting there. And I honestly felt like saying, Daddy, don't you want to react, say something? At one point, I felt like defending her against the people who were getting upset with her. But I didn't, thank goodness. When everything finished, I remember turning to her and saying, that person was very angry, Daddy. How did you stay very calm and peaceful in my innocence, this was going back maybe 30 years, more than 30 years actually. And Daddy just sweetly looked at me and said, "Acha, gusse mein the? Kaun gusse mein the?" Meaning, really they were so angry? Who was angry? She hadn't even named the anger. She hadn't perceived it as being anger. She was just so detached. And I thought to myself, that's quite ridiculous. How do you help someone unless you know what their problem is, right? If someone has this problem, then I need to be this way. If someone has that problem, I need to be this way. This is how I sort of balance out what's happening in someone else. And this is how I can, resolve any situation. But I just realized a soul who is detached is so complete in that state of being. They don't need to use this virtue, then this virtue, then this virtue, then this virtue. Whatever needs to be used is already filled in my being at that moment. When we say there is completeness, or there is fullness, or there is perfection in the soul, it means everything is present in that moment. Every virtue, every power. You think Baba has to think, what power do I use now? What virtue do I put into the situation? No. Detachment is a place where there is so much perfection in the soul that any virtue can be experienced at any time. And how Daddy ended that scene was with a smile and with some toli. And all she said to the person was, "Aapko milke bahut acha laga." She was meeting the soul. She wasn't meeting the sanskars. And that created so much stillness in the environment. She didn't even resolve anything. The person just quietly took their toli, and what do you do in the face of that purity, that silence, that unshakable state? What do you do? Nothing. The only option you have is to be like them. So the checking point as to, am I detached, am I not detached? How close have I come to my divinity? Is to check for disturbance. Any disturbance within, no matter how much you want to justify it or not, means that there is attachment. There's an old attachment to emptiness, to lack within the soul, to need. There's nothing else. And this is so profound, because this is where I started to take complete responsibility for who I am at any moment. And some people say that detachment is a very passive attitude, whether you call it attitude or position, that you're not actively doing anything. But actually, if you are correctly in a state of detachment, which means that you're in a state of your own completion, spiritual completion and perfection, whoever you're with will feel that not only are they completely understood, but they are completely being supported by your energy. That you, in that state of complete fulfillment, will give them a sense of protection, of power, but also that they feel that this protection and power is being transferred to them. Actually, all you are doing is what Baba does to us, which is reminding them of who they are. That's what Baba does to us, isn't it? He doesn't give us anything. He just creates a mechanism for us to look into the mirror and remember our own self. For me, that is what yoga is. The more I see you, as in Baba, the more I see myself. The more I remember who I can be, the option that I have to be. And so it's the same with a person who is in a state of detachment, who is undisturbed, who is completely full. What you do in that moment is not to give people a feeling that you don't care, a feeling that you are distant, a feeling that, there's sort of this almost passive-aggressive situation where you're quiet, but you don't know what's going on inside that being. They're quiet because they don't know what to say, they're perhaps suppressing something. No, complete detachment is actually a state of complete being, a state of complete giving without feeling that you're giving. But the person will feel, or the people around you would feel, that they have received. Because your state of being is a reminder to them of who they are as well. So, to get to this place of detachment, to get to this place requires a very, very astute intellect. It requires such a refined intellect that can not just catch and acknowledge, but can honestly accept every fluctuation inside as being my own responsibility, my own, I guess, I don't want to use the word fault, but it belongs to me. That disturbance is because of me. It's not because of anyone else. Doesn't mean you can't be firm in the world. You can't lay down boundaries. You can't not protect, but you can't position yourself or hold yourself in a place because you're not interested in getting involved in anything or getting disturbed by anything. So detachment is a very natural position. It is the most natural position for the soul in its original state. And this is what divinity is. Of course, in Hindi, the word divinity, divya, all of these words, devta, they come from a state of complete giving, complete being, which is obviously uninfluenced. There is no fluctuation in it. And because there is no fluctuation in it, we can say that it is unending. It is forever. That's why it feels like when you're in that state, this is the only moment. Now becomes everything. When you're in that place of complete perfection and detachment, the other interesting thing is because there is completion, you never remember past and future. Detachment means that every moment, every point of time is full. And where there is fullness in that moment, I'm actually not looking forward to another moment. Does that make sense? I don't think of the future. This is really the power of now. This is the power of being present. So I would say that in Brahmin life, the only tool that brings us to completion, brings us to perfection, brings us to our divine state is detachment. And when I'm truly in that place, then the influence that has on my surroundings actually pulls everything up into that place. And it brings comfort. The comfort that that abundance brings physically. You know, when you have abundance physically, you never feel that not only I don't lack anything, but you're not concerned for the next moment. Forget about worry, but you don't need to be prepared for the next moment because that seed of abundant is within you. You don't know anything but that. And in the same way, abundance in the soul, divinity in the soul. You don't need to know what will happen. It's unimportant because in this moment, I'm so fulfilled. Okay, so I'm just going to stop there and ask if, sorry that I'm looking this way, but I have the screen on one side and a different camera on the other side. Is there anything that you'd like to ask or comment on? Sometimes I feel that now your intellect is more important than what I have to say and what's going on inside you is perhaps the way I need to move in. So do we go into some form of comments or questions or?
Thank you, Sona Ben. Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Sona Ben. You are a New Year gift because the time when your class was announced, in the New Year Murli, Baba said, sensible children make their intellects divine and also enable others to make it divine. That was the day when your class was announced. And I was just thinking, you always have, I've seen you throughout, a close connection to Baba's directions. That really made me think I wanted to tell you. For me, detachment, it was only two things. When I was young, I used to listen to that Rome was burning and Nero was fiddling. And when I see a sannyasi who used to leave his house and go to the forest, that was detachment for it. And more when detachment is coupled with that observer, detached observer, I always used to think detachment is that. And no succor to the person who's suffering. That's what I felt. But when came to the knowledge, when Baba said, no, detachment is I can carry the whole world with me. I can love the whole world with me. I can transform. Still, I can be what I am because I have the source of light within me. So it's such a deep thing, Swanaben, to know about detachment. But when you spoke about divinity, there was only one line I want to say. Divinity is my original frequency. So now you have really changed the frequency of all of us to a collective frequency and collective vibration. So I hope this really helps us. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Divine Family, and thank you, Sister. Ms. Rightly, you have pointed that it's like a building a muscle. The everyday way detachment is what we practice ourselves with connecting with the universe, Baba. It's a journey towards completeness. It's a rightly, Miss. It's a checking point that we have to, Miss. Yes, everybody has. We have different unique qualities, and Gija sister also said the frequency, and whatever we radiating our frequency through our connecting with our divinity, you know, Baba, connecting with Baba. So that gives a selfish uh, uh, with pure state. It is going to a pure state and delivering whatever is receiving. We are whatever we are receiving that is serving to others. So that I got point. Thank you, sister.
Om Shanti. What I understood and what we generally feel that when we are detached with this world, we are connected to Baba. Because it is just something different. Either we have to be connected to Baba or the world. Because in the Sakar world, when you are body conscious, it is said that we are connected to this world. And just the opposite of that, when we are soul conscious. And in that soul conscious state, when we do Purusharth, we reach to a stage that is called Nirakari, Nirvikari, Nirahankari. That was the final words of Brahma Baba. Because that's the sign that yes, when you become connected to Baba, you become Nirakari, Nirvikari, and Nirahankari. That is when you are only connected to Baba and detached from this world. Because unless if the thing is that you have got certain alternatives, that you are connected to Baba and connected to world, or you are only connected to Baba, that is when you are only connected to Baba, that is the real detachment. And in that process, what happens? The final outcome is Nirakari, Nirvikari, and Nirahankari. Because what has happened that continuous attachment with this world, due to that, humankind or we children have faced many such problems, many such anomalies, many such difficulties in our life. To that, when Baba came in this Sangam Yoga, and what he found that the children are suffering from many problems, they are not at ease. They are they are suffering from some disease. That is, the person not at ease is called disease. So Baba gave us the knowledge in the chapter number 1 that my dear child, you are a soul. You are not a body. You are not a male, not a female. You are a soul. And you have to practice it that you are a soul. And in that practice and practice and practice, in Hindi it is said, one phrase is there that if you do practice again and again and again, the time comes when you succeed. With the awareness that I am a soul, and with the practice that I am a soul, and remembering Baba again and again, as it is said, the more you remember Baba, the more you become like Baba. And with that continuous remembrance, because what happens when you remember anybody, you become like him. And the best way to experience detachment is to remember Baba again and again. In that process, you will be detached with this world and connected to Baba. Om Shanti.
Does
Does
anyone have
anyone
any
have any
questions?
questions?
Questions, may I ask? Sister, detachment when you're in a peaceful environment, or even when you're living your daily life, and you are meditating every day and practicing, like you very rightly pointed out, that muscle becomes strong and you remain in that stage of calmness, even if you're professionally working or doing anything. But I've always wondered the true test of the soldier on the border who's going to be detached to his own life, but he is ready to do his action, what we call the karmic action, or the through the Jnana Yoga, the devotion and the dedication to the task at hand is for the Supreme. When you surrender everything to Baba, for me, that is also detachment. Like you are ready to lay down everything for someone else. The beneficiary is not you, the beneficiary is that service for millions of people. I also see that as detachment because it is a very high level of commitment, a very high level of focus on the goal where you detach from the outcome to your own self and you fully surrender to the Almighty, to God, that I'm doing my duty. What do you need to say on this for detachment?
Well, it just means that you have completely let go, surrender, let go. What was the other word you used? You know, when you're completely doing something for a task, you know.
Yes.
Here it's not the doing for a person, but it's more about being, isn't it?
Yes.
And I'm not being for myself or for Baba, really.
Yeah.
It feels that way.
Mm.
The reason all of us follow this path is because somewhere deep inside the soul, we want to be aligned to the truth.
Yes.
It's the deepest recording in the chit that this truth is me, is the real me. And so it's almost like there is an automatic pull with time, drama, back to my original role or state of being. Just like for the soldier, its original state is to fight for the country, for example, right?
Yes.
It just feels like this is what I was meant to do. This is my
Yes.
wiring. This is my purpose. So for us, I don't think it's a purpose where I need to do anything, but I give up anything in the way of reaching that truth. This is what surrender is.
Yeah. And one more last question from my side is that detachment to your own self, uh, like you very nicely pointed out about testing through whether you're disturbed, any small disturbance. It's a very nice way of checking, actually. Let's say you did have a plan that you're not going to be disturbed and you're doing this checking on yourself. And now, when you meditate and you actually leave the body conscious world, you actually are observing your own self in a very detached way, very objectively, using Baba's guidance to actually see, and you actually get those answers that this is what you could have done better. This is where you could have, that level of detachment when you're actually in your meditative stage, even while you're doing actions, walking, talking, and looking at your own self in a very detached way. At times, I experience that it's actually that is the time where you are actually accurately analyzing your own level of progress. And using Baba's guidance, you are actually able to reflect through that detached observer meditative stage what you need to do and where you still need work or practice or muscle building, like you said. And do you have any experience or something that connects to this philosophy? Because this is the way you're continuously improving in that detachment activity.
Well, I think why we use detached observer,
Mm.
because when I'm not attached to anyone or any particular set of sanskaras, I am naturally neutral gear. That is the observer.
Mm.
Truth is neutral.
Right.
Remember, Brij Mohan Bhai used to say, right is right, but wrong is also right. What does he mean by that? Everything is okay.
Yeah.
So when I can get to that neutral place where I go, okay, everything is okay, I just stay in my state of completion. That's all that matters. And again, I keep repeating that detached observer or the state of detachment doesn't mean that I become a doormat and I don't act.
Mm.
But yes, of course, I have to, in this world, draw boundaries. I have to, participate, but all the time checking, am I disturbed?
Mm. Very
So
nice. Mm.
definitely stay neutral, stay the observer. The minute you get pulled a millimeter in any direction, you're no longer neutral. You're no longer completely detached. You're still attached to some set of sanskaras of one of your 84 births, and it won't be one of the 20 births of golden and silver age. It'll be one of the set of sanskaras of one of the other births. So not perfect yet.
Okay. If anyone else wants to say something, or can we conclude this session? Sister Raki?
Rest of time, I guess we should invite Mona Ben to take a
Okay.
presentation.
Okay. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, sister, for the very reflective and simple way of actually understanding detachment versus divinity. By guiding us on this simple method, I'm sure we will all work towards this goal of becoming divine yet detached and becoming complete, like you said. Thank you for that guidance, sister. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Divine Family, for the beautiful participation, and we all learn and progress together. So, thank you for raising the collective consciousness here. Thank you, sister, so much. Om
Thank you
Shanti.
all for having me. And I'm sorry I
Sister,
was
we,
5 minutes late.
Sister, we invite you to take a short meditation before we close.
Okay.
Sure. So just bring your attention, focus right here, right now. and I feel my own pure self. And I feel how I am. In that state of pure being. In a state where there is no influence, there's no effect. There can be no impression on the soul. It's as though this place or this position, this state of being, is a natural protection. And it makes me realize how God exists, how Baba is. I am, and will continue to be as I am. And nothing else really matters. Because in this state of I am, totally aligned with my truth, I can be nothing but pure goodness. So let's bring that state into our being, even as we return to the consciousness of where we are sitting and what we are doing. Thank you. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you, sister.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.